other day I changed my voice to help you understand why the miracles are figurative when we're talking about walking on water, turning water into wine, the bread, the fish, the resurrection. I'm going to explain to you what water symbolizes in the Bible. And I'm going to do it in two parts. This first part is about the negative aspects of it, right? The flood, a muddied well, etc. And then in the second part of this video, I'm going to talk about the positive aspects, and then I'm going to make another video where I'm going to explain to you the scriptures that prove definitively that I'm right. So water, in its negative aspect, also connects to fertility, evil reproductive cycles, right? Kind of heavy metal, Manson comes to mind, but it's also the George Bushes. It's also the churches. It's also all the conformists, because those who find their life, including a church that is allowed because they found their lives in this world, lose their souls. Okay, and when we look at the Greek and the Hebrew, we see what they're getting at when they say find their life, will lose their life, is they're saying those who find their life in this world lose their souls when we analyze the etymology, the linguistics, the language. Okay. So water in a negative sense can stand for the water of affliction, a muddied well, a flood, a driving rain. Okay, also people who are wicked. Languages, right? You know, the wicked body language, right? The kind of look on your face, a wink, a malicious wink, an evil wink. Okay, so it can stand for languages in terms of actions and not just speech. Okay, it stands for the multitudes. We see that in Revelation, right? It says the people, the nations, the languages, the multitudes. And they have a certain way that offends God. And they don't seem to be using the word culture in the Bible. Instead, they use the word ways, the ways of those people. So those of you who aren't obeying God through me, which is everybody at this point, okay, you're walking in the way of worldliness and psychology, okay, on the paths of injustice, because it's the highest form of injustice to cheat me out of my right to lead. Okay. Versus walking in the way of righteousness along the paths of justice. We'll get into Judges 3 in another video, which will prove definitively that God is training people for martial warfare. Not to use a drone or a tank or a plane, but he's training people in mind, body, soul, spirit combat. That's why things are described in terms of water and fire and wind and the cloud relative to combat, lightning, hail, a driving rain, right? Wickedness burning like a fire. Okay, this is key here in understanding what is going on in the world and why it is martial arts. Okay, because it is nature, not arts as an illusion, not circus arts, not breaking bricks, but monotheistic, mind, body, soul, and spirit, martial warfare, holy martial arts, Royal African Falcon, right, divine order, okay, transcendent heterosexual martial arts. Okay, now let's talk about how water has a positive aspect. Why it's being used positively and negatively has to do with God. When righteousness, right, God is love. His foundation is righteousness and justice. A righteous, morally precise spirit of love. Not a worldly one, not one that society accepts, but one society persecutes because they uphold the arrogant governing class that wants people to think that money and their culture are greater than the Almighty, which is despicable. So, what happens when righteousness comes into contact with wickedness? Okay, what happens when an angel comes into contact with a demon? Right? They drive it away like water washing filth off of something. Okay, it's driving that thing away, it's marshaling it, it's ordering it, it's arranging it, it's putting it in its place. So what I'm doing with my very presence here is conveying the Spirit of God, and everyone's being put in their place. The world is becoming more and more evil, like an apple that rots. The world is like one big apple, it's rotting, and those with sense stop breeding, and they go into heaven, and they purify themselves. They've been born again in the truest sense of being born in the water of righteousness and peace and well-being, like we see in Isaiah 48:18. They're being born in the water of purity, a flood that gets rid of the wickedness in them, and they're purified in holy water, if you will, and being prepared to enter through the gates properly cleansed spiritually. It is water that brings life, the water of life, the living water of God, the springs of living water. God is the spring of living water, the source of the spring. It is a teaching, the spirit of armies that are righteous versus the spirit of armies that are wicked. It's a cleaning substance. It is the righteous people, the righteous nations. There are no righteous nations in this world, right? So, when the prostitute is sitting on the water, she's corrupting those who don't obey God through me. I'm the gate. I'm the way to the source of righteousness and justice. Okay, we see in Proverbs 21:1, we'll get into that in the next video, how in the Lord's hand the king's heart is a stream of water that he channels toward all who please him. So the heart of the righteous is being compared to water. Okay, so what is it meant? Why do they call him? Why are they saying that the king's heart is a stream of water? It's part of the greater body of water, the rushing water of God, the living water of God, that God is channeling to those who please him. God is saying, obey the righteous king. Okay, and we see in Proverbs 16:12, it says the throne is established through righteousness and justice, and 16:10, the divine verdict is on the lips of the king. We see in Proverbs 16:15, it says when a king's face brightens, it means life. His favor is like a rain cloud in spring. So when Jesus, who is my soul, comes back on the cloud, okay, it is a cloud that is favor for the righteous. It vindicates, it avenges the righteous, and it punishes the wicked. If you have any questions, please comment, even if people tell you not to comment. I can be found in Morgan Hill, California, in the mornings. I can't tell you exactly where because of the rules on various sites, but I'm not that hard to find. Okay? If you watch enough of my videos, you should understand where to find me if they're keeping you from finding me. I also have a YouTube channel called Poison Christ and another one called Persecuted by Racists. So we see in Jeremiah 51:55 that it says waves of enemies will rage. What does that mean? It has to do with their formation, their collective spirit that is crushing the spirit of other people. In the Bible it says the flesh means nothing, the spirit means everything. So whether your soul is part of the force that wages war on the wicked, the filthy, spiritually speaking, the despicable, those who have degraded their soul by their complicity with worldly culture, or if they're a hermit by refusing to face the enemy in the divine order. It says in Matthew 10 to declare the glory of God from the rooftops, even if it's just whispered in your ear. It is clear that the right thing to do is to gather with me. It says, whoever doesn't gather with me scatters. If you aren't obeying God through me, by default, you're telling people by your actions and otherwise that magically it's okay to have some stupid excuse for not rallying and obeying God through me and carrying your cross and facing adversity. Okay? I would compare what your mistake to somebody who sits on their couch like a couch potato and just eats and gets fatter and more lazy and doesn't work out. And they think to themselves, hey, it's mental strain to work out. Life is short. Better to be somebody who works out masterfully in the Spirit of God than to be a lazy, sloth-filled couch potato that refuses to face the mental struggle that comes with serving God. That's some punk stuff. I see a lot of guys, even girls in high school, try to act bad and tough, talking about they'll beat another female up. How tough are you if you refuse to obey Christ, the top martial artist ever, and face adversity with him? As I have proven a million times over, I am the Christos, the anointed one. Why aren't the people in your churches and Christian groups explaining it the way that I am? Because my explanation overcomes theirs. My heart overcomes theirs. My top martial artist, legal challenge, mind you, light contact sparring, not violent, overcomes all the deeds of their groups together. The Catholics together don't have a single act that's comparable, and their collective acts aren't as great as my top martial arts challenge. It glorifies God more than David beating Goliath. All the established churches together aren't worth a moment in my glorious life. They have to resort to playing stupid and shrinking from their responsibility. When ver in virtue means man. It says in Proverbs 28:1, I believe it is, the wicked flee though no one pursues, no one of importance, just the devil, just flesh-based fools. The wicked flee though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion, in the spirit of the Lion of Judah. I am brave. Those people you are following and yoking yourself to are cowards. Thank you.